Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is October 16th, and today's episode is going to cover the launch of NodeSet. It launched last night. We're going to be talking all about it, the first impressions and all of that good stuff. We're also going to be talking about the dev funding vote that's ongoing. You're going to help us hit quorum. We're going to be talking about Saturn Zero a little bit and a whole lot of other things. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so yesterday was a really busy day with NodeSet stuff. As you can imagine, we talked about how it was going to be launch day for their protocol. They were also scheduled for Rocket Pool community call. So there was a whole lot going on there. So let's actually go back kind of in a semi-chronological order and see how the day went. So one of the things that people have been talking about recently is, the node operators for NodeSet is you set the gas limit low, and then you just kind of let the validator sit in the mempool and just come online whenever it does. So Joe kind of heard people saying that, and he designed some interesting stuff to kind of help make that a bit easier. So he says, hey all, I see a lot of people planning to take advantage of the whole submit a transaction at low gas and let it sit in the mempool process. So in light of that, I'm making a small change to the way Hyperdrive does minipool creation. Right now, Hyperdrive will wait until after the transaction has been included in the block before serving the validator key and restarting the validator container. It does this to mitigate the issue of ghost keys, where you generate a public key to do a Constellation minipool create, then overwrite it later, which will generate a new key. Now when that overwritten transaction gets included, our VC will have two validator keys in it, one from the initial transaction and one from the overwriting transaction. The first key is useless as it's never part of the deposit. This is harmless to the VC, but it can get confusing for people. So Joe says, instead, Hyperdrive saves the key once the transaction has been concluded, so there are no more ghost keys. However, the problem is that if you do Control-C out of the CS minipool create process before the transaction is included, or otherwise exit the terminal, that key saving never happens. The end result is you can't run the second state transaction, and you can't upload a signed exit. If you don't fix it within 2 weeks by running CS wallet rebuild, a Rocket Pool will dissolve your minipool. That's bad. So he says, since I'm expecting a lot of people to run into this situation, I'm changing it back to the first process where the key gets saved before the transaction gets sent. The only difference will be a slight reordering of the command line interface output and prompts during Constellation minipool create. I just want to make sure that nobody gets surprised by the updated dialogue when they do this for real. So Joe's already kind of helping out node operators there, making it a little bit easier for them, and just letting people know that, to expect a new flow. That was yesterday afternoon. Then yesterday, later that afternoon, there was an announcement sent out by Wanda. And he said, for your information to everyone, in preparation for the imminent Constellation launch, we have added a new rule for this server, no FUD. And FUD, of course, stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It normally means negativity, negative comments, negative, harsh criticism that's not constructive. So the rule is no FUD. Do not discourage the use of NodeSet services. So Wander explains, he says, all users are free to make their own decisions about their participation. Your decision may not be right for others. We want to keep the server mood positive, so the mods won't tolerate concern trolling or other negative behavior. And as a reminder, being a verified node operator does not grant you an exemption from enforcement. Also, please welcome Joe to the mod team. Also want to say thank you to our moderators for helping keep the server clean. So there was some actual discussion about this in the Rocket Pool community, because Rocket Pool is actually quite hands-off when it comes to moderation and the way that people communicate with each other. People are a lot more open with their criticisms, sometimes worded gently or constructively, sometimes worded more harshly or pointedly, but it might annoy some people, but there's no rule against it. But these guys have set up that rule. It kind of makes sense in some ways, and I personally kind of disagree with it in other ways, but I just thought I'd bring that to your attention, just in case you want to go over there and talk about stuff. Just make sure that you are adhering to the rules of that server. It's a different community from the Rocket Pool community, so the way you present yourself has to kind of match the decorum of that space. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And then a little bit later, this was 2 minutes before 8, Wanda put out an official messaging saying that we're thrilled to announce that Gravitas Constellation mainnet launch is finally here. After many years of development, it's time to unlock rocket pool scaling and launch NodeSet into the next phase of our journey. To celebrate this, please join the rocket pool server for a community call right now. And then there's a link to the rocket pool server for those people who I guess weren't in it. And it says to learn more about Constellation, you can read the documentation here. If you're interested in using Constellation on mainnet, please see the Gravita website for more information. If you are a verified NodeSet operator, you can begin making validators right now with the new version of Hyperdrive. See this post, and then there's a Hyperdrive release. We're going to be talking about that next. And then there's some relevant addresses such as the directory, the XR ETH address and the XRPL addresses as well. So definitely keep those in mind. And then right then, this is the Hyperdrive version. So Wanda says we're excited to announce the stable release of Hyperdrive 1.1.0, and this includes Constellation mainnet support. And it has full release notes on their channel. It says make sure the launch of Constellation as successful as possible. Gravita is generously subsidizing validator deployment over the next 2 weeks, so you can aggressively attack the deposit pool. Each validator deployed before the upcoming rocket pool upgrade, which is about in less than 2 weeks, will receive 0.0115 ETH, which is equivalent to a 5 GUE discount on the gas price for the mini pool creation transaction. These reimbursements will be issued by Gravita directly in ETH terms, and then before the end of this year, let's delete the deposit pool. So basically what is happening is, we'll actually talk about that in a little while, and I kind of explain why that's important. But then, the community call was happening, and people started making their validators. So this was one of the first ones that came online after the Hyperdrive became public. Joe had already created one earlier in the day, for the internal testing and stuff to make sure that everything was working fine. But it looks like they were sending basically 1,100 or so RPL with those validators that were getting created. And over here you can see their address on Rocket Scan, that they now have 43 validators that have come online, which is really exciting. And they are staking let me see, nearly 50,000 RPL is being staked there as well. So this is looking really, really cool. They're doing some awesome stuff, and those validators are starting to come online. And the first validators, actually the ones that started last night, are now already staking because they went through the scrub and they went through the rocket pool scrub, and they also went through the beacon chain queue. So those have already come online, which is awesome to see. But you can see their address here. And you can go and check it out yourselves, but they've got 43 validators already, which is awesome. Okay, we already talked about the launch here. Yes. Okay, so one of the things that was happening was some of the people were trying to spin up validators. However, the Constellation contracts didn't have enough ETH in there, so it seems like some people's attempts to spin up validators were getting denied, and the create mini pool was failing as a transaction. So for some people that happened multiple times. But I think there's two things to check when you start a validator. One is to make sure that there is actually ETH available for you to start a validator with, and the second thing is to make sure that the gas prices are where you want them to be. And we're going to talk about that in a second. And then on the Gravita side, they put out their announcement as well. And they said they're announcing XR ETH to everyone. You can unlock the full potential of your ETH. We are beyond excited to introduce XR ETH, a revolutionarily sustainably designed liquid staking token with 0% fees, built to give you the same rewards as running an Ethereum validator at home, like a solo staking basically. So you can mint XR ETH, and then there's a link to their portal to do that. So why XR ETH? So this is XR ETH gives holders 100% of staking rewards, bringing you the full power of solo staking returns while maintaining liquidity. It's built on the foundations of Rocket Pool and supercharged by NodeSet. Learn more in our documents. And then they've got to delete the deposit pool campaign to celebrate the launch of XRETH. We're kicking off our delete the deposit pool campaign. Users who mint XRETH in the first 4 weeks after Constellation's launch will be eligible to receive rewards at the end of the promotional period. So actually, let's go and have a look at that, because yesterday the numbers were incorrect. So we can see the numbers here are correct now. So if XRETH, if there's between 0 and 9,999 XRETH minted, then 25% of the RPL revenue share that goes to Constellation will then go to XRETH minters. If it's between 10,000 and 24,999, then 30% of the revenue share will go to XRETH minters. If it's 25,000 to 49,499, then 35%. And if it's more than 50,000 XRETH minted, then it will be 40% of rewards that will go to XRPL. XRETH holders. So there's some more information here. The tools are basically that you need to mint within the first 4 weeks of launch, and you need to hold it for 6 months, and then you can still use the XRETH in DeFi when that becomes available, but I think they'll be checking how it all works out. And if you want to make a referral, if you know someone who has big amounts of our ETH, which is 500 ETH or more, you can reach out to Rhett or the Gravita team, and I think you can get some cool incentives coming your way for that as well. Now, I kind of alluded that we'll be talking about gas, so let's actually have a look at gas. So this, I think, sheet was created by Mig. Maybe I'm mistaken. Sorry if I got that wrong, but I think it was Mig. And it basically says that the gas cost to create a validator is around 2.3 million, is that, or 230,000, and then the GUI cost, how it works out. So basically, for every GUI of gas that you spend to make the validator, you need around 15 days to break even. So if you get gas at 1 GUI, then the total cost of ETH for that is 0.0023 ETH, and that will take you 14.7 days in income to recoup that. However, you got to remember now that you'll be getting 5 GUI worth of gas reimbursed to you. So for 10 days, if it's 10 GUI, for example, then that goes down to 5 days worth, which means that you'll break even in about 73 days. So you have to remember that Saturn 1 is potentially 9 months away, maybe around that much. So you've got a whole lot of time to break even if you set your validators at those low GUI limits. However, like that 20 GUI limit here shows that it'll take nearly 300 days for you to break even, which is 9.5 months. Of course, these validators, once they're running, they'll run in perpetuity, they'll run forever. So, after that point, you'll still keep getting rewards. However, the idea is long term for Rocket Pool to move on to mega pools, and I'm not sure how Constellation is going to work with mega pools right now, but that's just something for you to keep in mind. So I'm not trying to further spread concern or anything like that. Sorry, guys. I'm just letting you know that, your understanding of when you want to break even is completely up to you. All I'm saying is that for me, when it comes my turn to start putting these validators online, I'll be looking at, those sub 10 GUI kind of numbers, so I can be profitable within a couple of months instead of longer than that. But, your understanding of that might change. So good luck to you. Okay, and then here, Joe this morning sent out a message saying that the first Constellation mini pool, this is mini pool number 0, is live, and this is already running and testing, and Joe hasn't missed any test stations yet. So that's really awesome that it's up and running. It's really, really cool. So congratulations to Joe, congratulations to the Constellation and Gravita NodeSet teams, all the teams involved, and congratulations to the node operators who are getting those validators spun up. It's really awesome. So what I was saying earlier, that NodeSet were the guests on the community call. There is no recording for the community call at this point, as far as I know. So I can't really show you the recording on the screen, but the first like 40 minutes, 45 minutes was Nick, Wanda, and Rhett kind of talking about NodeSet and Constellation and how they're all involved and all the different things that you can do. We pretty much covered all of that, during this segment. In the second half of the community call, or the last third of it, Langus came online and he actually shared some really interesting information about what's next for Rocket Pool. So we actually talked about Saturn 0 and how that's scheduled to go live on the 27th in the US or the 28th at UTC, midnight UTC on the 28th or 10 a.m. in Australia. And then a couple of hours later, we will have the parameter changes go live, so you can start spinning up ETH-only validators. Now with Smart Node Stack version 2, that was an area of conversation that got brought up as well, and it looks like the team is going to hold off launching Smart Node version 2 until the rewards tree 10 is out, so we might not see the Smart Node version 2 until after DevCon. DevCon is also something that was talked about, how the team is going to go out there. Langer said that their talk at the staking summit is going to very strongly focus on Saturn 0, Saturn 1, and Saturn 2, and all the great growth opportunities that Rocket Pool is kind of creating for itself. So it was really, really cool that so many things are happening, and we're actually like entering a really bright period for Rocket Pool, I think. So that was incredibly exciting. Okay, moving on from there, we have an update here on the vote that went live for RPIP 37. So this vote is very slightly struggling to reach quorum, but it's not really like, we've got 13,000 out of the 14,000 votes that we need. So we are at 96 or 97% or whatever it is. But on 90, something like that, whatever the percentage amount is. But if you haven't voted in this vote yet, this is a vote to vote in favor of the team getting funding for another year. One of the big voters that voted recently was Val, and his comment about voting was, the TLDR is that the team is good, so we should fund the team. And then there's Val's vote explanation on the forum, and you can go on and check that out. So if you are interested in hearing Val's reasons for how he's voting, at the moment we have 99.78% of people voting in favor of this vote. We have one person voting against with 29 votes. So it's strongly likely that this is going to go through, and we have until October 27th for this to happen. So I expect this to go through without any problems, which is really, really cool. Okay, moving on from that, next we have an explanation that people kind of wanted me to bring clear about Saturn 0 onto Rocket Fuel for you all to hear this. So right now, if you start a validator, your validator is going to be fine. Like if you already have validators, nothing about those is going to change, except you will start getting RPL rewards from January, not January, from November, which is awesome, which is really exciting. Now, if you start a validator on the 28th, for example, after Saturn 0 parameters get changed, then your dynamics are slightly different. So you don't need to start a validator with RPL, of course. However, if you have RPL, then that will give you a little bit of extra ETH rewards. So let's talk about the ETH rewards that you'll get if you are a Saturn 0 ETH only validator. You'll get 10% commission. However, you'll get up to 14% commission in ETH terms if you also stake with RPL. Now, the more RPL you add, up to 10%, the more of that 4% you will get. Now, that's kind of clear. Now, the 10% that you're guaranteed, however, is a little bit more complicated, and here you go, you get 10%. 5% of that will come from the Rocket Pool contracts, which means that will always be there. However, 5% of that, and going up to 9 if you stake RPL, 5 of that will come from the smoothing pool. Now, the reason why this is important is because you will have to be a member of the smoothing pool in order to get that 5% rewards. So if you join, if you start a validator with Saturn 0 with ETH only, and if you're like, YOLO, I want to try to get those lottery blocks for myself, then what will happen is, even if you have RPL amount, you won't get that full commission percent that you're owed. You only get the 5% that comes from the contract. So I think this is really important to realize, that if you are going with ETH only validators, it is a very, very, very strong financial incentive for you to also be a member of the smoothing pool, because otherwise you won't get your full rewards that you are owed. You'll just be giving them away to other people instead. So definitely do that. And I just wanted to make that clear because I think there was still some questions about that in the Rocket Pool Discord. Okay, so yesterday's episode we talked about how 1.13.10, the new version of the Smart Node stack came out. However, it looks like there was some breaking changes in this update. It's very minor breaking changes. It looks like some people are having problems with their Grafana dashboard. Their validators are fine. Their funds are fine. There's no problems with any of that stuff. It's just that Grafana has broken a little bit. And it seems like there's a few people kind of sharing their screenshots of their Grafana breaking. As far as I know, the Fornax is now going to investigate this. But yeah, people were, they rebooted it. They were still getting their Grafana broken. And Lee here was saying that it's broken for him as well. And Fornax then is in the process of kind of like getting that figured out. So I guess in the next Smart Node 1.13.11, hopefully there'll be a fix for that Grafana. As far as I know, it's not everyone that's being impacted by this. I think it's only a small number of people. Sadly, I don't know what the commonality is between those people. So that is something, if I find out, I'll let you know. But yeah, that's just a small change. So if you are one of those Grafana power users and you love having it open all day long, then, and you haven't updated to 1.13.10 yet, maybe, hold off. But otherwise, I don't think it's a big enough deal for you to not get that POAP for updating to 1.13.10. Okay, with all this excitement of new node operators, coming online with Constellation, we actually got another new node operator came online with 783 ETH. Now, this person here says that the Europe Budapest, they've already started 26 validators, which is really exciting. It looks like they were a node operator for a while. It looks like they started their node in March with one 8 ETH validator, then added a 16 ETH validator in July, and then a few validators in September. But now they're adding a whole lot more 16 ETH validators. Now, we had a little bit of a talk back and forth in trading about why a person would start 16 ETH validators, and it didn't really make sense to me because with Saturn Zero, there's really no reason to have 16 ETH validators ever again, because you'd get those rewards with your you'd get most of your rewards. Well, actually, you'd get more rewards by having LEB8s than you do with 16 ETH validators. Considerably more rewards. Even if you had 20% commission on a 16 ETH validator, you'd still get more than that on the 10% of LEB8. So that's definitely something to keep in mind for this person, I guess, or other people. But it's actually really cool that they are adding more validators, and that's exciting to see. But like I said, I'm not sure why they're starting 16 ETH validators. They're also spending high gas to start these, so more power to them. But what's ended up happening is that the deposit pool now has gone down like fairly nicely, and it has gone down to 38,200. Pat and I recorded the weekly orbit just before I started recording Rocket Fuel today, and we had a little bit of a bet, well, not a bet, but just a guess basically of where the deposit pool will be when we record next week. And you'll have to listen to the episode to find out what we talked about. But I think this deposit pool will be gone on October 29th, or very close to being gone on October 29th. And that will be through NodeSet, and that will be through people with Rocket Pool reducing their bonds, and that will be through like other things like that. But and hopefully new node operators coming online as well. But I think the era of for the foreseeable future, for the next few weeks or months, it looks like we'll have queues on the deposit pool. So if you kind of want to get ahead of that, make sure that you start your new validators now when gas is low. And if you want to come in with ETH only, then be ready on on the late night of October 27th, because that should hopefully be a low gas period as well, and hopefully you'll get a chance to get in right away with low gas and with a minimal queue. And I think that you'll end up being in a good spot there. Okay, a really interesting discussion came up in the research channel, and this thread was made about that. So this is LST Risk Dashboard. So Hanniabu is a member of the Rocket Pool community who has made a whole lot of different kind of websites that show ETH information. I think Hanniabu is the person who made the client diversity website that I've shown on Rocket Fuel, so many times before. Well, Jasper has been asking for an LST risk dashboard, and I think Hani kind of came across that and was intrigued by the idea and has now decided to make one. So he's in the stage of kind of gathering information to see what kind of metrics should be covered. So Hani says, hey, I'm putting together a dashboard to analyze staking safety of each LST protocol. I'm reaching out to each LST team to get feedback. Below is a list of metrics, attributes I'm currently have to compare against. Is there anything else you think would be good to include? Is there anything you don't agree with me including? So these are the kind of things that he's talking about. He's talking about node operator safety, permissionless node operation, forced exits via governance, no stacked contract risk, minimal collateral, only ETH collateral, upgradable deposit contract, upgradable withdrawal contract, no oracles, trustless exits. Then with LST holder safety, is it non-custodial, upgradable deposit contract, upgradable withdrawal contract, upgradable redemption contract, no depeg risk, direct protocol redemption, collateral required, number of collateral, no freeze function, no stacked contract risk, no oracles, node operator count and the number of them, average stake per node operator and then the number of that. Does it use DVT, yes or no? And then there's some DVT safety questions. Where are the keys kept? Does it have DVT cluster independence? Cluster participants unswappable, no oracles, non-custodial reward splits, anti-slasher tech, and DKG keys. Says each item will be given a red, yellow, or green indicator number with notes for more details, unless indicated with number, in which case it's just a value number. And then Valdov says, in general, I think governance should get more weight. A little tough to reduce to red, yellow, green though. DVT clusters currently add 0 security and then kind of gives information. Nosho says for node operator safety, I think you care about security of your funds. Don't think upgradability sufficiently covers that. For example, with Rocket Pool, the mini pool contract can't be upgraded against your will, yet that doesn't give you any guarantees with regards to your funds. It's not a trustless system. Maybe something like trustlessly exiting is possible. And then there was a whole lot of other feedback that kind of came through and discussions. You can read this discussion to see, how you feel about the different ideas and points that are coming up. But it looks like we'll be getting this dashboard at some point. Then here we got Freeborn, who's Izzy, who works with Lido, giving feedback as well, and kind of trying to interject with some ideas there as well. So it looks like this dashboard is in the very early stages of getting made, which is really cool. I hope that we see some really good stuff coming from it in the next weeks. First figuring out all the parameters, and then after that figuring out getting it all live and up and running. I'll definitely be covering that on Rocket Pool. I keep calling it Rocket Pool, Rocket Fuel when as we see progress on it. Okay, the team is getting ready to go to Thailand, and they will be in Thailand in November, and the team's there for Staking Summit and for DevConnect, and they're trying to get feelers out now from, who from the community is going to be there. So Mav says, hey everyone, if you're going to be in Thailand next month, drop a thumbs up or a thumbs down reaction to these dates. If you're free in the evening to join a community meetup, and we'll pick a time that suits as many people as possible. If you do react, also we'll also give you our DevCon role to help with coordination. You should also join the thread soon and see you in Bangkok. So that thread is for people who are going to go to DevCon. But here it looks like there's meetup possibilities happening on Sunday the 11th, Sunday the 10th, Monday the 11th, Friday the 15th, or Saturday the 16th. And as things stand, the most number of people have put thumbs up and the fewest number of people have put their thumbs down for Friday the 15th of November. So if you are going to be in Thailand for those events, then respond to this, or otherwise just turn up for the turn up for the conference and turn up for the celebration as well. So it looks like there's going to be some really cool stuff happening. If you're around, definitely get involved with that. Okay, next we have some news of a client release, and this one is from Nethermind. This is 1.29.1, and they said that this is a mandatory upgrade for all validators. This came out 2 hours ago, so this is after SmartNode 1.13.10. So make sure that you go to the upgrade page and actually upgrade to this if you are using Nethermind. But it says that the major highlights are improved memory usage on the Linux machine. In this version, we fix a regressive issue that has caused Linux machines to slowly consume more memory than expected by a process. In 95% of situations, it was not causing any OOMs. It was not causing it in specific situations. It was restarting a node periodically, fix and improve the OP base sync chains, and address edge case block production issue. So if you are using Nethermind, then they said that this is a mandatory upgrade. You should upgrade as soon as possible. And with the Rocket Pool docs, you can go to, let me check, upgrade Rocket Pool docs. Let's have a look here. And then there's, checking for docs, checking for updates, and what you can do is you can do the manual upgrade. So it says updating your SmartNode stack. If you scroll down there, they actually tells you how to manually update the execution of consensus clients, and this is basically going into the terminal user interface, and then you just change the container tag for your validator that you're running. So for this version of Nethermind, it will be 1.29.1. So if you change that, restart your system, everything should be updated with that. But if you need help doing that, pop into the support channel, and people will help you and kind of talk you through the processes there. Okay, moving on to some staking news here. We had an announcement from Nectar. Nectar, of course, is the rebrand of Diva, the people who are making, the DVT included LST and staking service. So with Diva, that was going to be their staking service, and they built up this whole ecosystem around that called Nectar Network, of which Diva is going to be a part. So they've got an announcement now of what Nectar is going to look like. So saying, here's a look behind the scenes of Nectar, the world's first decentralized infrastructure marketplace. So it's kind of going to be, I think, a rival to Eigenlayer / Symbiotic / Karak. So they're saying Nectar is pioneering decentralized infrastructure marketplace, DIM, a platform connecting networks, operators, and token holders in the modular decentralized economy. Here, look closer at how it all works. And they're saying, what is a decentralized infrastructure marketplace, and answer that question. And they're talking about, how delegates will contribute, how operators will work in there, and why the marketplace matters. And they're saying that they've got exciting announcements coming soon. So like and share this thread, and we continue to expand the Nectar ecosystem and learn more. So one of the comments is, what about Diva? And I think that's my question as well, is when is the Diva aspect of this going to launch? And at the moment, we don't have any ideas. I think they were aiming for launch in Q4 of 2023. We are now in Q4 of 2024, and we still haven't launched. So that's a little bit disappointing, but it looks like they're working on a whole bunch of things. So I'll keep you up to date with when that goes live. Of course, a whole lot of Rocket Pool people, node operators in the Rocket Pool community were airdropped the Diva token. They were given 12,000 Diva tokens that will unlock once the protocol goes live. So I thought it'd be worth it covering this for you all. So but you can maybe have some hope that your tokens will become live soon. Okay, we're going to finally finish this episode with some other news. So this is for Firefox users, and it seems like your Firefox browser has a major bug in there and a vulnerability that could mean that your crypto wallets can get drained. So here Vectorize.eth says, go upgrade your Firefox right now, or you could be drained without even manually signing a transaction. It says attacker was able to achieve code execution in the content process by exploiting a use after free in animation timelines. We have reports of this vulnerability being exploited in the wild. This vulnerability affects Firefox 131.0.2 and other versions as well. So Roxo jokes by saying, for the 2 people who are using Firefox, they're now shaking. But And although Tycoon.eat says Firefox broke hardware wallet support a while ago, sad it was my go-to browser for desktop before, maybe not so sad today. So yeah, if you're using Firefox and using crypto with Firefox, please, 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 please upgrade your browser before you do anything else. So on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely day ahead, and I hope you are getting your NodeSet validators up and running. I still haven't set my testnet up, which I need to do ASAP. But I'll probably do that this weekend and try to get some validators spin up. Hopefully, if they've got some ETH and RPL waiting for me at that time. But yeah, this is a really exciting time. I'm really excited, and I think good things are coming for Rocket Pool and Constellation and all these other things. And I'm here for it. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.